Alliance of Sarasota County, and we have a opportunity grant from them. The revenue from that comes from the sale of license plates, of course.
Okay.
And this is the second year in a row that we've had our opportunity grant. It did come in a little smaller than last year because I suppose they have less revenue and maybe they had more applicants. But still a very good grant. And then we were lucky. My sister and I both went to the Montreux School and Music Festival in Hancock, Maine. I was a conducting student there of Charles Brook, who was Pierre Monteux's first student. Pierre Monteux, of course, was the great French conductor who conducted the premiere of The Rite of Spring, and then later was the music director of the Boston Symphony.
Okay.
So he and his wife Doris had a music festival and conducting school in Maine. She was from Maine, actually. So he died I think he died in 62 or 63.
Oh, and, he died.
And then what happened is Doris looked to find another conductor to take up the reins, so to speak. And so Charles Brook took over in 69. So my sister and I were both there in the first year that the program reinvigorated. And I went there every summer for 5 years, studying with Brook.
Well, Maine's a beautiful place, and those lobster rolls are great there.
I didn't quite get. The important thing is, the point about this is that they made mini grants available to alumni, and the condition was that they would give money to any musical group where there were at least 2 alumni from the school. And well, my sister and I were there together, so we qualified. And so we got a grant from them as well, which came pretty close to making up the shortfall from the Arts and Cultural Alliance.
Okay. Well, how can people buy tickets to this February 16th concert?
Right. So you can go to the orchestra's website. Just Google Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota. It's www.chamberorchestrasarasota.org. But if you Google our name, it'll find it. And then on the top bar, there's a tab that says Buy Tickets. And if you click there, you'll get a drop-down menu, and you can order tickets for February 16th or March 16th.
Now, if there's only 75 in the church, I guess you got to get the tickets pretty soon, huh?
Well, that's right. There's only going to be 75, but there will be 2 performances. So there will be about 150 available seats for each program. Last year, we were drawing audiences, more like 180 or so. We can't, if our entire audience wanted to come, regular audience wanted to come, we'd probably run out of seats. But I think there'll be some people who don't come to Florida this season, or some people who are hesitant to go out to an event. So I think that you might have one or the other of the programs might sell out. That's true.
Okay, so you have a show then at 5:30 p.m. and then one at 6:30 p.m. or is it 7:30 when it starts?
7:30. 7:30.
Okay. Now, Robert Vodnoy, how did you come up with the repertoire for the concert and what's on the program?
The first thing I thought about, especially in the stresses and strains that the country has been going through, that a concert of all American music would be really welcome. And of course, February is Black History Month, so I wanted to do some programming that acknowledged the great contribution to American music that African Americans have made.
Okay.
So then after that, I still wanted to make a musically enjoyable program with music that was playable with just a string orchestra and had some kind of historical feel to it as well, without being didactic. So the 5 pieces I chose, the first piece on the program is by the American composer Arthur Foote. I don't know if you know Arthur Foote. He was one of the what were called the Boston Six.
Okay, I don't know, but that's
okay. Well, along with Amy Beach and Chadwick and a couple of other composers. These were the very, very important composers in Boston around the turn of the century.
Okay.
And actually, I had been doing some research into the Sarasota County Centennial.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really got me interested in this. I read about the great contributions that Bertha Honoré Palmer made to the Chicago World's Fair. She was one of the lady managers and was responsible for a lot of the programming, musical programming at the Chicago World's Fair. And when I looked at those programs, I discovered that Arthur Foote's Serenade was premiered by the Chicago Symphony in 1893.
Okay.
So, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. So that's what we're going to open with.
Okay, and that's going to be all strings, of course.
Yes, all these pieces are all strings.
Right. Okay.
And so the next piece we're going to do is a beautiful waltz by Scott Joplin. It's called the Bethina Waltz. He wrote it in 1905.
Now, that's piano, of course.
It's a piano piece, but there is a lovely arrangement of it for strings.
Okay.
And it's historically, it is considered the greatest ragtime waltz ever written. So Joplin incorporated the da-da, 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 da-da rhythm of the ragtime into a waltz. And the pieces, if you saw the movie The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yes, I did. Wonderful.
Okay, well, it is the sort of theme music of that film. It's a really just exquisite piece. Joplin wrote it dedicated to his second wife, Freddie, I forgot her middle name, Joplin, who had died shortly after he married her. She died of tuberculosis, I think.
I see.
Or maybe the flu. So the waltz is kind of wistful and nostalgic and a little sad. It picks itself up with this kind of confidence in the middle of it. But it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. So that's number 2.
Okay.
The number 3 is a lullaby written by George Gershwin. You can hardly do an American concert without having some Gershwin on the program.
That's what, okay.
And this one also has a very interesting history. Gershwin wrote it as a string quartet in 1919. So it's written before Rhapsody in Blue. And he later used the theme from it in an opera, his first opera, Blue Monday. But it's a sort of a little bit rag-ish lullaby for strings. He wrote it as a quartet, but you can also play it with full strings. Beautiful, beautiful piece that has the kind of Gershwin humor and some very adventurous harmonies too. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then,
number 5.
4.
Oh, number 4. Sorry.
A composer named William Grant Still is known as the Dean of African American Composers. He was a very, very important composer. Wrote over 200 pieces. There's a couple of symphonies. There's an opera. Still is the first African American to have a major opera company produce his opera. He's the first African American to conduct a major symphony orchestra in the United States. He's a towering figure. he wrote a set of dances called Danzas de Panama, which are four dances. The outer two movements are the tunes are of African origin. Of course, there was a large African slave population in Panama.
Okay.
And the middle two movements are Spanish dances.
Okay.
So it's a really a great piece. I would say it's on par with Copland's El Sol en Mexico. Really, it's a great piece.
Robert, I'm going to have to. We only have about a minute left, so if you could just finish up that last bit, and then we're going to find out where people can donate financially to the Chamber Orchestra.
Sure. Okay. So, of course, I wanted desperately, seriously, I wanted to play a piece by a living American composer. So we're going to conclude the program with Jessie Montgomery's Starburst. Jessie, she wrote the piece in 2012 for the Phoenix Ensemble. It's gotten a lot of performances. It's just brilliant little, sort of fanfare in a way, for just strings. It's a terrific piece.
Okay.
So we're going to go from, it covers almost 125 years of music, starting with Arthur Foote and ending with Jessie Montgomery.
Okay, now you're publishing a concert program ad book this year. Is it too late to buy an ad?
No.
Okay.
Now, if you want to buy an ad, you could send me an email.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Robert. We've only got about 15 seconds left. I'm really held to time this time. So I'm going to summarize quickly. This interview with Robert Vodnoy will air in the upcoming weeks. Professor Vodnoy directs the Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota, Florida. You can reach him at rvodnoy@gmail.com. And his website is Chamber Orchestra Sarasota altogether.org. You can donate to the Chamber Orchestra on the website or on his Facebook page. I'd like to thank Professor Robert Vodnoy for being on our show today. My name is Richard Bont, and this is Curmudgeonly Yours, an eclectic show on Society Bites Radio. You can download these podcasts on societybitesradio.com, radio.net, it's with two Ds, or richardbont.com. And you can also listen to us on iHeart and AHA Radio, iTunes, Spotify, Sound Echo, and several other internet platforms. Thank you, Professor Vodnoy.
Oh, it's a pleasure to talk to you, Richard.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to thank our guests for being on Curmudgeonly Yours today. And please, if you like what you heard, send me an email to richard@richardbont.com. And if you didn't, please keep your comments to yourself. Remember, this is Richard Bont and Curmudgeonly Yours on Society Bites Radio, where everything is what it seems, nothing is what it seems, and what is not said is often of most interest.